and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Yes, I've still got the plague and Ebola and all that stuff all together because it's just what happens. But I'm going to push on. I'm not going to mention it. You'll never know because I don't mention them sort of things. But anyway, we have a 2005 Citroen Berlingo with a parasitic drawer. Now, the customer has already replaced the battery and it's still doing it, so he's brought it to me. Now, there's a few things you need to do before you do anything on a car really, and I don't talk about it enough, but I should. One thing is get as much information as possible from the customer. Now, sometimes that can go the other way for you because if the customer doesn't explain it properly or doesn't really know how to explain it, it can lead you down the garden path. But it's still good to get as much information as possible from the customer. Take it for a test drive. Yes, this is a parasitic drawer, but still take it for a test drive. I've already done that, and what's actually happening is, now I don't know if it's related yet, but the alarm keeps beeping off inside and it's saying the rear boot is open. Now it's a van, so in other words, the rear door is open. Now that might have something to do with it. Without a test drive, I wouldn't have known that. So that's going to be one of the first things we're going to check in this case. The other thing is, what we're going to do with this bad boy, it's just charging back up. We're going to do a full battery and alternator check. Now, I am going to be doing a proper review on this, but this is just going to be, I'm just going to be showing you it as part of the video. This is the new Midtronics tester. And the thing is, anything to do with electrics, your alternator, your battery has basically, that's what powers it. That's the heart of the car. If they're not working properly, all your sensors could be giving false readings and you could actually bring up error codes and it might have nothing to do with the error codes. In the sense of it could say, I don't know, an ABS or an airbag problem or something, and it has nothing to do with that. It's just the fact that the battery is flat or it's not charging the battery properly, or the alternator and the AC ripple is going through the system just making an absolute balls of everything. So it's really vitally important to do them three things before you touch a car really. Ask the customer as much information as possible, test drive, and fully check the electrical side of it by testing the battery, by testing the alternator. Depending on what car you have, you need different testers. This bad boy will do all the new stuff because, like, you know, on the new modern cars, it's not just a battery anymore. There's reserve capacity. There's all sorts of stuff, start, stop, you know, and you need the charging system tester to be able to do all that. So we're going to do that first. And then we're going to get into it and we're going to see if we can find what the problem is. Sorted. Right, so here it is. It's a 1.9 diesel, obviously, Berlingo van. You can actually see there is a brand new battery in there. But again, we're still going to test it because if we have an issue with the alternator, for example, it could have still have damaged our battery. So even if it looks new, I don't care. Even if it looks like a brand new alternator, still doesn't bother me. I'm still going to test it. So we're going to test the system just to make sure our heart of our system is working. And then we can kind of go on to the parasitic drawer or whatever you happen to be doing. Like I said, I don't really talk about it enough, but I should. I should kind of really say, you know, these are the things you have to do because, believe me, you know, I'm sure we've all done it before, chasing problems, and it's turned out to be, you know, a loose connection on a battery. You know, you forget the simple checks first. Always do the simple checks first, and it can save you hours upon hours of time in the future. Like I said, I will be doing a full video review on this. I'm not sure which video is going to come out first, either the review or this video, but you will see it. This thing is awesome. I remember when I did a quick video on it, someone just basically straight, well, oh, they're no good, they're modern, they don't load the battery, blah, blah, blah. If you're going to comment on someone's video, please make sure you know what you are talking about. This does have a load on. This has a special toaster inside there which loads the battery. These things are phenomenal. Anyway, we'll get to that in the review. There's loads of different ways of doing it depending on what car you're using. You can take pictures of the VIN and it will automatically recognize what car it is, basically everything. It's unreal what it can do. As you can see, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. You know, as you can see, we've got the battery voltage at the top. I'm just going to go in number plate. Now I'm not going to put the proper number plate in it just because it's the video, but you're going to get the idea. So we will just put the battery rating in. Oh, doing this through camera is a bit awkward. 640, and it's a 70 amp hour. And we're just gonna go blah 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 blah. That's the number plate. Then we'll go continue. You can even hear that toaster's going already. Now it wants us to take a picture of the battery to get the exact temperature, but because I'm filming, I'm not going to do that. It's going to slightly skew with the results, but actually I better, haven't I? Just so people don't complain. That's another thing. Look at that. How cool is that? See that? It disconnects, people. It disconnects. Oh, trying to do this and hold the camera. Look. Oh, that's what I love about it. I'm going to leave this here now, and I'm going to go in the car. Come with me. This is why this thing is just phenomenal. Now, the battery needs charging because, like I said, this hasn't really been running properly and it's been draining the battery and everything. But we still know it needs a charge, but that's okay for the minute. What I'm more concerned about is to stop them wipers going. I'm more concerned about the charging system at this point. So I'm not really worried about that yet. And I also had the lights and everything on, so I'm sure if I actually tested this properly, I wouldn't have actually had that issue. Oh, I didn't go into test, did I? Just let me get back into test. I'm just redoing the test again because I didn't actually select diesel. I've had the battery charging up for a little bit, and it's just going to get us a bit better result. You got to remember, I've been turning the ignition on, doing a few bits, turning the lights on. I've been testing a few things, so I'm draining the battery as we go, and obviously the draw also is kind of doing that as well. So I just want to kind of get a nice result before we can continue. And there we go. We know it's good in the sense of, obviously, it's just a bit low because of what I've been doing to it. But we're good to go. So we're going to go and complete with the test. And this is what I just really like about this, is because it's just, you know, it's telling me everything to do. It's wireless. It knows I got the amp clamp on there. And it's zeroing it for me. Oh, this is just ace. Now, start the vehicle. See? The charger's still on the vehicle and I'm inside. So start it. Make sure everything is turned off. It is. Select next. Testing alternator idle. Boom. You give a live battery reading at the top as well. Now it's telling me to rev it. So we're going to rev it up. And as I rev it up, it's automatically detecting on the machine, look. Once I get in the sweet spot, we can press next, hold the revs, return to idle, let it return to idle, press OK, or next. Now it wants us to turn on the lights, turn on the heater motor, press next. Hold it again at the revs. Still telling us to hold. Turn everything off. Boom, there we go. We can send results, we can print results, we can go into everything. to see exactly what it's done. Oh, I mean, this is just, look at it. I mean, it's just awesome. Tells us our ripple, our loads. Oh, look at that. Just look at it. Just look, there's a ripple, perfect ripple. Just, oh man, I love this. Now, we can actually email this to the customer. We can do all sorts. It's just phenomenal. I just love it. Also, it does say charge and obviously retest, and that's why I said in my other videos, it's always important to keep your battery maintained. And now obviously I've been messing with this vehicle, having lights and all sorts of stuff on, so that was kind of my fault. But so I'm just going to do a little teaser now, go into the multimeter function. I'm not really going to press anything. Actually, I'll just press that, and I'll show this in another part when I'm doing the full review on it. But believe me, people, this thing is just awesome. And there we go. That's it. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just going to start it. I'm going to let you hear this beep. And it's really frustrating, especially when you're driving, because it's beeping at you like crazy. So we'll start it. And as we go, there we go. Boot lid open. Boot lid open. Now, the boot lid means the rear doors. Obviously this is just taken straight off the car and not really programmed, you know, for a van. It's the same thing, but you can hear that beeping, and again, sometimes that display doesn't work properly. You can see it there, it didn't read it all. Anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go to the rear just to make sure it's not the lock switch basically causing this parasitic draw first. Right, I've done a 3-part video series on how to do a parasitic draw, because depending on the vehicle you are working on, you have to do different tests. On a newer modern vehicle, you can't really disconnect the battery and stuff like that and pull out fuses and do all that sort of stuff, because you can lose some of the memory on the modules if you disconnect the battery. If you pull the fuses on, again, I'm talking modern vehicles now, not this one, you can start waking up other modules, and it just can take hours for them to go to sleep, and you're going to get false readings. So if you want to know how to do all that, just check out all my other videos on how to do parasitic draws. But on this one, what we can do is we can quickly disconnect the battery, and we can use a test light, because this is an older system, and disconnecting the battery isn't going to cause us any issues for this particular vehicle. But be warned, make sure you have the right vehicle you are doing before you disconnect the battery, because some vehicles, they won't start afterwards. So I've just got a normal test light, and I've got a vice grip essentially, and I'm just going to disconnect the power side of the battery. Once I got it all set up, I'll show you what I've done. Right, like I've said, I've done other videos on how to do this and what to do for your specific vehicle. So sometimes you might need a multimeter and all sorts of different things. You can use a multimeter with a resistor in. I've shown all that on all my other videos. But anyway, we've got one end of our test lead to our socket, our actual power socket, and then we've got the other one to our battery. And as you can see, it's lighting. Now, at the minute, it's actually flickering, which is interesting. But it's still lighting. It shouldn't be lighting. So what I'm going to do first is, just because we know we've got an issue with the back door, it might not be the problem, but we know we've got an issue, so we might as well start there first. So let's go to the back door. Let's see if there's any lights on inside. Let's see exactly what's going on. Right, you might not be able to see, but as I'm looking through the window, there's no light on. So that's interesting. I've just opened the door, and there's still no light on because the light is actually been turned off. So I'm going to flick it to door open, and then, well, actually no, sorry, I can't do that yet. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the battery back, and I'm going to check this. Right, I've got a question for you. I had this test lead basically on a power. Both ends were power. How did it light up? Question down below. Doesn't matter if you're wrong. Have a guess down below, just for a bit of fun. Right, so I'm at the back again. We're going to flick on this. This should now come on. Of course, it wouldn't come on before because of the way I had it set up. But that's now come on, which is good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to see if that light turns off. The switch is there. I don't want to touch the switch yet because I don't know if that switch is faulty. I want to see if it closes by the door. So now, there we go, look. So that tells us two things. That tells us, one, that the switch is definitely faulty because we're getting the flashing light on the dash, if you remember. But I can't see this being our problem with the drawer because this light was turned off like that. If the light wasn't turned off, I'd say this is our drawer. But the light wasn't turned on. So this could just be a coincidence. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to shut the door again and see, can I see that switch? Let me see it. Not really. It's in there somewhere. I can't really see it. I've got an idea. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this piece of plastic here with some tape, and that's just made the door that bit thicker, and see if we can push down on that switch a bit more to see if that light goes off. So let's do that now. Right, and the answer is no, it doesn't. So we've got an issue with that switch. But like I said, I don't think that's our issue with the parasitic drawer. I just push down on that, it doesn't going to do any good. But I do want to get it off, just to be 100% sure, but I really don't think that's our issue because our light was switched off. We've just got basically two separate issues here, I think, because the alarm is going off to say the door is open. So we've got a dodgy switch here, and we've got a parasitic drawer somewhere else. Only because that light was turned off. I'm going to have to ring the customer actually and see, before I go any further, and see, did he turn that light off recently or has it been turned off for a while? Right, so I've spoken to the customer. He said no, he's had that turned off for a long time. As you can see, the door is now open. We have no lights on the dash saying the door is open, but it is. I'm going to bypass the switch, so I'm just going to turn down the switch now. I'm just going to turn the light on, but it'll also make everything beep inside, and you can see, look, door open. So I'm going to keep that off like that now. That's turned off. The light is turned off. So I'm going to leave that disconnected, and we're just going to do the parasitic drawer test again, just to be 100% sure we haven't got an issue with this circuit. Right, I'm doing this because we just need to make 100% sure that we haven't got an issue with that circuit. You know, we know it's an issue, we know it has an issue, but we just need to basically, have we got two issues here or have we got one? So the door is now open, but I bypassed the switch and boom, no, look, we've still got a parasitic drawer. So there we go, we have two issues. We have that faulty door switch at the back, which isn't a big deal, that's not causing us an issue, but if you left the light on, it certainly would cause you an issue. And we've also got a parasitic drawer. So, but at least now we know 100%, we know it's nothing to do with the door lock. So now, unfortunately, what we have to do is kind of go to the next stage and figure out exactly what's going on. Right, as you can see, it's on for the door. The door is open because I'm standing in the middle of it. I put the switch back, but I've just bypassed it. So for the minute at least, it's not going to be beeping and flashing on the dash that the back door is open. He needs to get a new switch, and that'll fix that. But at least for the time being, that horrible, annoying flashing thing is gone on the dash. Right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull out all the fuses one by one. And again, be careful. I can do it on this vehicle. I've shown in my other videos how to do it on more modern vehicles. So I'm not going to film all this, but basically just pull out each fuse and see if the light stops. Once it stops, We then need to work out what fuse it is. The fuse wants to go back, that is. But bear in mind, you've got, you know, multiple fuse boxes. I think there's maybe like 2 fuse boxes inside here, and there's a couple more inside the car. So once I figure out which one it is, I'll turn the camera back on. Right, so the fuse box inside, and it is F4. So it's a 20 amp fuse. We take out that. At the minute, you can see, oh, can you see? The light is still on. I'm going to pull this out. It's out. And boom, it's gone out. So we now need to figure out what F4 is, what fuse it is, what it controls. Right, unfortunately, this is the problem. This fuse controls a lot of things, which means it's more difficult. If it just controls one thing, you're fine, but this controls multiple things, and even inside multiple things, more multiple things. But the one thing, there's a couple of things that stick out kind of quickly, is audio system and the alarm system. Now, they're kind of, well, the audio is the easiest. Everything else is difficult because you can just basically disconnect the radio, and if that's the problem, it turn off. But like disconnecting steering column functions, control modules, you can't just disconnect them. These things could be expensive. And it's an old kind of workhorse van, so, you know, is he going to put a lot of money into it? No. So the first thing I'm going to do is whip out the head unit and just disconnect that, because it's the easiest thing. And fingers crossed, people, fingers crossed. I've got my fuse back in, my light's back on. I'm going to turn the ignition on, and I just want to see, oh, I can't. I just want to see if the radio works. I never actually tested the radio. I want to see if it works before I disconnect anything. I'm going to have to connect the battery back. Right, ignition is on. We haven't got that horrible beeping coming from the back, but does our radio work? Yes, our radio does work. Normally, well, not all the time, but a lot of times when the radio is giving issue, they don't tend to work, so I'm rare. Let's hope it's this bad boy. Let me get everything put back together and I'll disconnect the radio. I'm not sure if you can hear this. Sounds like a cricket. Hopefully you can hear that. Anyway, our fuse is in. Our light is on. Disconnect the radio. Oh, lovely. Light's gone out. And the cricket has gone. Boom. 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 So there we go. It was the radio. All that for the radio. But like I said, it was really good that we did check them back doors, because you just don't know. Them back doors could have been doing something funny. They weren't working properly. We know that the switch was faulty. Was the switch doing something weird? Without actually going that, without taking it for a test drive, without doing all that, we would never have known. So it was a good thing we checked that. But as it turns out, nothing to do with the parasitic drawer. It was the radio. And there we go. So he either needs a new radio or he leaves it disconnected. It's entirely up to him. But at least we've now figured out the problem. And like I said, you know, asking the customer, test drive and testing the electrical system. They're the first 3 things you need to do before you really turn anything or go through any kind of diagnostic procedure. You know, you want to get that done first. And that's it, people. So look, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, check out my page on my Instagram, my Facebook and all that. Links up here, links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted. Right, okay, moment of truth. It's a wet, miserable morning. Will this start? It's been left overnight, freezing cold. Will it start? Oh, that was me turning it off. Boom! Turn the heater off. Boom! Boom, boom, boom! Boom, 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 boom. So there we go. Look at that. It's all good. Like I said, I will be doing a full video review on this, but I just wanted to show you that it was okay and everything was good just before we gave it back to the customer. So there we go. I knew it was all good. I just had to show this, and I'm going to stick it at the end of the video because I know people are going to say, well, you said you had to test the battery and it and all that. So I knew it was good. I just knew it was what I was doing with it. So that's it. Full video review coming on this bad boy, and that's it. Sorted.